Hey, welcome to another unboxing. I think, I'm not sure yet. We have to go through them. It looks like on first glance, we have some literature, we have some teen books, and not a clue after that. This is the first box. There'll be another box next week, and there'll be another box the week after. This is our first box of this set. So, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smashy stuff going on here. And this is the box. This is the box I got today. I have no idea. I took a first glance at it. It looks like I said, classics, maybe some teen, and I haven't got a clue. So shall we go through them? What did I do? Ah, here they are. All right, let's go through them before my knees cop out here. Um, Alex Rider, Crocodile Tears. Anthony Horowitz. Alex Rider has spent the past year turning into someone he never wanted to be. No teen should have to endure a sniper's gunshot wound, hand-to-hand combat with people twice his size, and the cruelty of men intent on killing thousands of innocent lives. Yet, this is the role Alex has reluctantly accepted until now. All Alex wants is a normal life back at school. There is more than enough suffering in the world without Alex being a part of it. And yet, not coincidentally, it's that suffering that keeps drawing him back to his life as a spy. Suffering is a business like any other, and it's about to cash in like you've never imagined. Not a clue. Susan Page Davis. Love comes to rescue in the Old West. In the wilds of Wyoming territory, three women face insurmountable dangers. When Fort Brigger comes under attack, Amy Travis' father asks Scott Tom Barley to rush Amy to safety at another fort. When pursued, can Tom separate his job from the desires of his heart? Traveling with an ill-fated wagon train to a teaching job in Oregon, Lydia Jackson comes under the protective eye of Corporal Mike Brown. Can Mike open his solitary heart to love again? Captured by the Sioux 2 years ago, Rachel Haynes is reluctant to leave the natives when Matthew Barkley claims to be her rescuer. Can Rachel determine where her heart belongs? Jerry Spinell, There's a Girl in My Hammerlock. Let's see. Can't see. I should have just broken out. Um. Oh well. Um. Eric's smile is so dazzling. It hurts to be anywhere but near him. Even joined the school wrestling team, but she's astonished at the avalanche of hostile opinions she provokes in and out of school. Is Eric worth it? No, if he keeps dating Liz Lampley, the sign in the coach's office says it takes a little more to be a champion. Okay. Broke my nail. The Florence King Reader. Florence King. This anthology is such a good idea and such a success. The Florence King Reader is the best kind of anthology. It contains work from every period on diverse subjects and leaves the reader wanting more. To appreciate Florence King, you have to read her. No review can do her justice, for she is a true American original in an era in which phrase should have been honorably retired years ago. Okay. On the Far Side of the Mountain, Jean Craig George. 2 years after Sam Gribley first ran away to live off the land, he is still on his own with his falcon, Frightful. His independent younger sister Alice lives in a treehouse of her own nearby, but suddenly Sam's peaceful life is shattered. Frightful is confiscated by a conservation officer and Alice disappears. To find them, Sam must leave his mountain refuge and track Alice across the Catskills as only he can do. I bet you know who these are. Anyone from 10 to 14 who likes adventure will like the Hardy Boys. The Witchmaster's Key. There's no time for explanation when Mr. Hardy telephones Frank and Joe from the West Coast and sends them flying off to England to help his old friend Professor Rowbotham. Their stay in East Anglia begins with a weird omen as they witness the bizarre funeral of an old witchmaster. From then on, strange things happen. They are shadow traps sprung up by a huge black dog and smitten by an old crone's curse. Who are their enemies? The same people who burglarized the Professor Witch Museum and robbed him of his life investments. When the Hardys learn about the strange disappearance of Lord Craighead, the plot deepens. Danger lurks everywhere and follows them to Ireland and to the Isle of Man. And I forgot to do this with the. This is 1976. And this was. I think I need to tape. I need to do some taping. 1990. And this was 1995. And 1991. And 2004. And our first one, 2009. Okay. And Juliet. Uh, Newly re-edited play text and revised commentary notes, scene-by-scene plot summaries, a key to the famous lines and phrases. 1992 and 2011. Cormac McCarthy. Bloom Meridian, or the evening's redness in the west. The book reads like a conflation of the Inferno, the Iliad, and Moby Dick, an extraordinary, breathtaking achievement. By the author of critically acclaimed border trilogy, Blood Meridian is an epic novel of the violence and depravity that attends American westward expansion, brilliantly subverting the conventions of the Western novel and the mythology of the Wild West based on historical events that took place on the Texas-Mexico border in the 1850s. It traces the fortunes of a 14-year-old Tennessean who stumbles into a nightmarish world where Indians are being murdered and the market for their scalps is thriving. (1985). I have two. There's two in this box. They got rid of both of them at the same time. You're Bella Prater's boy, Ruth White. When Belly Prater disappears, Bella's boy Woodrow comes to live with his grandparents in Coal Station, Virginia. Woodrow's cousin Gypsy lives next door and is as curious as the rest of the town about his mother's disappearance. Woodrow is cross-eyed and wears hand-me-downs, but Gypsy is impressed by his charm and witty stories. As they spend time together, the cousins find they have a lot in common and they become best friends during their 6th grade year. Gypsy is the town beauty, but she has hidden sorrows and secrets of her own. She wonders how Woodrow can accept his mother's disappearance when she's never gotten over her father's death. (1971 and 1984). The Lost World by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Journalist Ed Malone asks for a mission with adventure and danger in it, but interviewing touchy Professor Challenger, Ed gets more than he's bargained for. Challenger leads him to a hidden plateau in the South American jungle, a world of carnivorous dinosaurs, giant fish lizards, and murderous ape men. First published in 1912. Republished in 1981. This edition is 1994. The Magic Treehouse, Mary Pope Osborne. Burr, Jack, and Annie are in bathing suits when the Magic Treehouse whisks them back to the Ice Age. They meet cave people and woolly mammoths. Will Jack and Annie make it back to the treehouse before they freeze? 1996. Ah, most of the summary is covered up here. I hate when they do this. But it's thrown away now. I don't know why. Uh, oh well. I should have broke a nail again. Is there a summary inside it? No. Only Urgruk, the shaman who owns the latest team of dogs in the village, understands Russell's longing for the old ways and the songs that celebrated them. But Uruk cannot give Russell the answers he seeks. The old man can only prepare him for what he must do alone. And there's no... Oh, here it is. 1985. Dogs. Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians. Book 2, The Scrivener's Bones. Brad Sanderson. I should save this for Star Trek. In his second skirmish against the evil librarians who rule the world, Alcatraz and his ragtag crew of freedom fighters track Grandpa Smedry to the ancient and mysterious Library of Alexandria. Hushlanders, people who live in the library-controlled lands, such as Canada, Europe, and the United States, believe the library was destroyed long ago. Free kingdomers know the truth. The Library of Alexandria is still around, and it's one of the most dangerous places on the planet, for it is the home of the scariest librarians of them all. A secret sect of soul-stealing undead curators. 2008. These vicious masks. England, 1882. Evelyn is bored with society and its expectations. So when her beloved sister Rose mysteriously vanishes, she ignores her parents and travels to London to find her. Accompanied by the dashing Mr. Kent, but they're not only the ones looking for Rose. The reclusive young gentleman, Sebastian Braddock, is also searching for her, claiming that both sisters have special healing powers. 2016. Relatively new. Relatively good condition. Ah. Mildred D. Taylor, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. This could use some taping. Why is the land so important to Casey's family? It takes the events of one turbulent year, the year the Night Riders and the Burnings, the year a white girl humiliates Cassie in public simply because she is black, to show Cassie that having a piece of their own is the Logan family's lifeblood. It is the land that gives the Logans their courage and pride, for no matter how others may degrade them, the Logans possess something that no one can take away from them. And let's see. Danny. Ah, this definitely needs some taping. 1976, and this edition is 1997. Disney, A Wrinkle in Time. Melanie Lange. In 1962, Madeline Lange debuted her novel A Wrinkle in Time, which would go on to win the 1963 Newbery Medal, bridging science and fantasy, darkness and light, fear and friendship. The story became a classic at children's literature and is beloved around the world. Now Disney is taking it to the silver screen with an all-star cast that includes Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling, Chris Pine, and newcomer Storm Reed. The major motion picture brings the world of Wrinkle to life for a new generation. Okay. (1962), and this one is 2017. There is a lot in this box. Beast Quest, The Dark Realm. Narge, the Sea Monster. After all of their adventures so far, Tom and Alina are more determined than ever to make their way through the Dark Realm and defeat the evil wizard Malvel. But within the peril's black ocean lurks Nagra, the sea monster. Aside from preying on the rebels, Nagra is holding Sepron, the sea serpent, hostage. Only Tom and his friends can bring an end to this evil beast's reign. I am so going to take her batteries out. 2008. Trophy Newbery Sounder, William H. Armstrong. This needs some tape too. A landmark in children's literature, winner of the 1970 Newbery Medal and the basis of acclaimed film, Sounder traces the keen sorrow and the abiding faith of a poor African-American boy in the 19th century South. The boy's father is a sharecropper struggling to feed his family in hard times. Night after night, he and his great coon dog, Sounder, return to the cabin empty-handed. Then one morning, almost like a miracle, a sweet-smelling ham is cooking in the family's kitchen. At last, the family will have a good meal, but that night, an angry sheriff and the deputy comes, and the boy's life will never be the same. 1969. C.S. Lewis, The Hideous Strength. The final book in the C.S. Lewis acclaimed space trilogy, which includes Out of the Silent Planet and Prelandia, That hideous strength concludes the adventures of the matchless Dr. Ranson, the dark forces that were repulsed in Out of the Silent Planet and Prelandria are massed for an assault on the planet Earth itself. Word is on the wind that the mighty wizard Merlin has come back to land of the living after many centuries holding the key to ultimate power for that force which can find him and bend him to its will. A sinister technocratic organization is gaining power throughout Europe with a plan to recondition society, and it's up to Ransom and his friends to squelch the threat by applying age-old wisdom to a new universe dominated by science. Okay. I tell you, I never know what I'm going to find in these boxes. I have no idea what's coming in them. 1945, 1946, and this copy is 1974. No, 2003. Okay. Dang. The 7% Solution, John H. Waston. Nicholas Meyer began writing at the age of 5 and making amateur movies at 11. By the time he left the University of Ohio, he had written countless short stories, blah, blah, blah. So what's this about? Here we go. The 7% Solution is a story unparalleled in the annals of criminal detection. Discovered in Hampshire, England, where it had lain neglect since 1939, then painstakingly researched and annotated for 2 years by editor Nicholas Meyer, the 7% Solution marks the first publication of a heretofore unknown and astounding episode in the career of Sherlock Holmes as recorded by his closest friend and chronicler, Dr. John H. Watson. And this has got the good paper on it. I always say an author that's the publisher knows that the author's going to do well. They give him the good paper. 1974. Ah. The Black Stallion and Satan by Walter Farley. The question became the greatest dispute racing circles have ever known, but fans would never get to see the race that could settle it, for the contest that pitted the Black Satin against Satan was a race for their lives from a deadly forest fire. 1949 and 1977. The Count of Monte Cristo. Set against the turbulent years of Napoleonic era, Alexandre Dumas' thrilling adventure story is one of the most widely read romantic novels of all time. In the dashing young hero, Edmond Dantes is betrayed by his enemies and thrown into a secret dungeon in the Chateau d'Alf, doomed to spend his life in a dark prison cell. The story of his long, intolerable years in captivity, his miraculous escape, and his carefully wrought revenge creates a dramatic world of mystery and intrigue and paints a version of France, a dazzling, dueling, exuberant France. (1956) and 2003 was when this was done. This box. Oh, look, more Hardy Boys. The Sinister Signpost. Racing cars, mystery, adventure, these elements combine to give Frank and Joe Hardy one of the most dangerous and intriguing cases of their careers. It all starts when their father, Fenton Hardy, is engaged by an experimental race car and motor designer to investigate a series of mysterious accidents. 3 of the drivers have crashed because the windshields of their cars were suddenly crazed, thus cutting off forward vision. Frank and Joe uncover one slim clue. Each of the drivers has been seen a signpost marked danger shortly before his accident. Let's see. 1968. Some of these are worth a couple pennies, too. can't believe they put this out. Harry Potter. I can't help it. I'm always like that. Harry Potter. For 12 years, for 12 long years, the dreaded fortress of Azkaban held the infamous prisoner named Sirius Black. Convicted of killing 13 people with a single curse, he was said to be the heir apparent to the Dark Lord Voldemort. But now he has escaped, leaving only 2 clues as to where he might be headed. Harry Potter's defeat of you-know-who was Black's downfall as well, and the Azkaban guards heard Black muttering in his sleep, "He's at Hogwarts, he's at Hogwarts." Ah, I have got... Excuse me a second. The Pilgrimage, Paul Jello. A work that holds an important place in collegial literary canon. The Pilgrim introduced the celebrated author to the readers everywhere, not only paving the way for his phenomenal masterwork to come, The Alchemist, but fully expressing for the first time his humanistic philosophy and the depth of his unique search for meaning. Okay. 1987, 1992. It was a dark and stormy night. A Wrinkle in Time. This is the same book. Just a different version of it. Where was the... That's interesting, isn't it? Somebody collected both copies. Ah, woof. You know what? We'll put that in the paperback. All right, let's see. Uh, the Lazarus Machine, Paul CRILLEY. (2012). An alternate 1895, a world where Charles Babbage and Ada Lovelace perfected the different engines, where steam and Tesla-powered computers are everywhere, where automations powered by human souls venture out into the sprawling London streets, where the Ministry, a secret government agency, seeks to control everything in the name of the Queen. In this claustrophobic, paranoid city, the 17-year-old Sebastian Tweed and his common father struggled to eke out a living, but all is not well. A murderous mass gang has moved into London, spreading terror through the criminal ranks as it takes over the underworld. As the gang carves up more and more of the city, a single name comes to be uttered in fearful whisper. Professor Moriarty. Okay. I have no idea. The wind, the road, and the way. Jenny L. Cutty. 11 terrified disciples cower in the upper room, wondering what is to become of them. Jesus is dead and crucified as a cruel Roman cross. It's only a matter of time before the Jewish leaders come after them to crush what their self-proclaimed Messiah started with the Way movement. Little do these men know that they soon will be boldly turning the world upside down as they fulfill Jesus' great commission. A self-righteous model Pharisee named Saul sets out on a zealous quest to arrest and murder as many followers of the way he can, beginning with Stephen, but the Christian killer will soon be stopped in his tracks on the road to Damascus to be transformed into perhaps the greatest Christian that ever lived. Okay. It's quite thick. And I had it. 2014. So this box can't decide if it's classics or kids or what's going on here. Have you heard of the Three Musketeers? Perhaps the greatest cloak and sword story ever written, The Three Musketeers, first published in 1844, is a tale for all time, pitting the heroic D'Argentan and his noble companions Athos and Porthos and Aramis against the master of intrigue. It's in pretty good condition. 1984. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Horse and His Boy. Narnia, where horses talk and hermits like company, where evil men turn into donkeys, where boys go into battle, and where the adventure begins. (1954), and this issue was 1982. Invisible Bonds, Girlfriends, Enduring Ties, Carmen Renee Berry and Tamara TRAEDER. Ask any woman and she will tell you that her friendships with other women are among the most important relationships in her life. Our girlfriends make us laugh, listen to us cry, tell us the truth even when it's difficult to say, and stand up for us when necessary. They sometimes know us better than we know ourselves and understand us when no one else does. Let's see. 1995. Keith Graham, The Wind in the Willows. And see if I can get this up. This is not gonna work. Well, that didn't work. The big X. I can't see the... Hey, there's no special editing here. I have got to do something with this nail. You think anybody's still watching this video at this point? Here we go. The Wind in the Willows, complete and unabridged. Shy mole who dreams of exciting new life by the endless river. Ratty, a friendly, unflappable, altogether civilized chap. Gruff badger who hates absolutely everyone except all his friends. And Toad, oh Toad, glorious, crazy, doomed Toad. The Toad, the pampered braggart. Toad, the desperate thief. Toad, the haunted fugitive. Okay. 1988. The Final A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, As Good as Dead, Holly Jackson. Pip is about to head to college, but she is still haunted by the way her last investigation ended. She's used to online death threats in the wake of her viral true crime podcast, but she can't help noticing an anonymous person who keeps asking her, "Who will look for you when you're the one who disappears?" Soon the threats escalate and Pip realizes that someone is following her in real life. When she starts to find connections between her stalker and a local serial killer caught 6 years ago, she wonders if the police have the wrong man. And 2021. I wonder what they got. Well, I don't see any. It says thrown out because there was marks in it. I don't see any marks. These are the last ones. I have no idea where somebody who puts this on the cover. To Kill a Mockingbird. If you haven't seen the movie, you gotta see the movie with Gregory Peck. And this is in pretty good condition too. 1960. The spine is clean. I wonder why they threw this out. This would have been good. There were always people looking for this. Ah, kids' book. The New Prophecy Warrior's Son is Erin Hunter. Been a little damaged up there. She Fear churned in her belly. He won't hurt me, she told herself. He's my clanmate for Star Clan's sake. Squirrel fights, trust him. Brambleclaw couldn't possibly be following a path that led to blood and shadow if Star Clan had such faith in him and Squirrel flight being together. Beyond the trees, the lake reflected the pale dawn light, and yet at that moment, the choking scarlet tide that had lapped strictly at the shore seemed far more real to leaf pull than the dove-gray water below her. And 2015. We got a little where there too. And our final two books. Catherine Cookson, The Girl. When dying, Nancy Boyle, for her own good reasons, names Matthew Thornton the father of her 8-year-old daughter, Hannah, and leaves her in Elmholm House. She unwittingly sentenced Hannah to an angry fate, for Hannah must endure Annie Thornton's extremely cruelty marriage to Fred Loam, a man she does not love, and many, many other obstacles in her ultimate happiness. (1977) And our final book, Around the Way Girls. Around the Way Girl 5 brings you to the borough of Brooklyn, where the streets can be your salvation or they can be your hell on earth. Take a look at the lives of some street smart women who will learn what living the fast-paced life can mean in the end if you are not careful. What if you were raised to be a hooker and worst of all your father was your pimp? In Keeping It Family, this isn't just a nightmare for the Collins daughters, this is reality. Raised without the guidance of their mother, Diamond, Essence, and Chanel were forced into the streets at a very young age. They were expected to make that money by any means necessary or face the wrath of their daddy, Dallas Collins. Damn. What a negative book to end on. 2008. So I guess this is our... Look who I found. Look who I found. So that was our sorta kinda teen, sorta kinda youth, sorta kinda classics, sorta kinda have not a clue. So, hey, I love these unboxings. I love these because I have no idea what's in them when I get the boxes. So, hey, stay tuned for next week for the next boxing. And don't forget to check out Star Trek Next Generation recaps on Fridays. If then, Friday afternoons, we got some good stuff coming up. And Flashback Monday, where we talk about all the books in my favorite magazine, Romantic Times Book Review. I love that magazine. But I gotta get to some more unboxing. Oh, these are so cool. These are just awesome. But this is really an eclectic bunch of books. Teen books and literature books in the box. What can you do? Have a good one.